Hi friends, welcome to episode 27 of the Quirky Monday Craftcast. My name is Kalisha and you can find me anywhere online as Laduma Ngxokolo. Thanks so much for checking my video out. I am coming to you today from my home in Central Florida. We are once again in the front, so there might be peoples. But it is a beautiful day this afternoon. Fingers crossed I won't be racing the sun, as I've got maybe an hour until it sets. So let's jump right into things. Is everything yarny in my makings today? Yes, everything is yarny in my makings today. And we'll start with a finished object. And I have, let's show you the right side, baby blanket number 1. For peoples. We're clear. Baby blanket number 1. This is for my church's women's ministry. They are donating. I checked the bulletin last Sabbath and it just said like a women's and children's shelter. So I don't know which one they're going to, but I have been asked to do some baby blankets, some crochet or knit baby blankets for them to donate. So this is the first one. It is just a giant granny square. I held a pale yellow, there you go, a pale yellow and a white together. Yeah, like that. Just some I had in stash. I believe the pale yellow is a red heart and the white is a mystery yarn from a bag at Joann's. Who knows? The white one was thinner. It's probably about a sport weight. Sport to DK weight. And yeah. So I think there's 5 that I've been asked to do in total. So there's green, yellow, pink, blue, and green, yellow, pink, blue, white, and rainbow. So there might be 6. So 1 down, more to go. And that's the only finished thing that I have this week. Everything else are, well, the next 2 works in progress are the ones that you saw last week. So I will not belabor them too long. First up, we have my vanilla sock. Oh, there's strings everywhere. This is the Patton's Croy green stripe rag colorway. And I'm doing this one on my Chowgoo 2.25 millimeter needle. Yeah, 66. No, not 60. 56. I had this confusion last week. One moment. Woo. 56 stitches. And I almost slapped a bumblebee. That would have been unfortunate to catch on video. Anywho, 56 stitches. I am doing a afterthought heel. As I'm looking at it now, my gauge loosened up considerably right here. I wonder why. But you can like see that increase. Oh, that's weird. I tell you, man, it's so interesting to see how your state of mind and how you feel is reflected in your crafting. So yeah, these are just going to be plain, plain vanilla socks. Nothing spectacular. I am working from the ball of Patton's Croy. At first, I was just going to make them the length that I normally do for my socks, like the leg length that I normally do. So that's what I marked here. But I think what I'm actually going to do is like knit out the rest of this ball and maybe just have longer socks. We'll see. I'm gonna try them on like with this whole thing being the leg and see how it feels on my leg and make a decision from there. And if anything, I can knit out this whole ball because I have some like this color right here. So it's like a light gray with a blue twist, like barber poling. I have some that looks like this, and I can maybe do like the toes in that, toes and heels. Yeah, I should have enough for toes and heels on both socks if I just knit all of this into the leg and foot. So that's that. I have my other pair of 2.25 needles just hanging out in this bag because why? I don't know. I could have very easily put them back where they belong, but I was like, no, this is the place. This makes the most sense for me to just stick them in this bag. Next, Kiva and Tudor outside with me in the front yard, just watching. So the next work in progress I have, I am still on the first sock of these Devil Snare socks. It's patterned by Erica Luder. And I have just gotten so discouraged because if you see, I'm down to the toe, right? I did not think that this yarn was thicker than, you know, what I normally use for socks. I don't know if it has to do with the fact that this is Cordale. This is, what is the name of this sock yarn? Fuzzy, happy fuzzy yarn? I can't remember. Happy fuzzy yarn? Fuzzy happy yarn? I'll put it at the bottom of the screen. Can't remember. But it's the Cori sock, which is 75% Cordale, superwash Cordale, and 25% nylon. I didn't think that it was going to cause like a big difference in like my gauge or something, but it did because I knit 75 rows on my foot, which is normally the amount of rows that I knit for a finger and weight sock. And then I went and did my rounded toe, and I didn't even get all the way through the toe decreases because I was looking at it, I was like, this looks really long. So I tried it on, and it was like almost a centimeter too long. And I wasn't even finished with the toe decreases, so it was just gonna get longer. So I ripped back and I took out some of the even rows that I knit in between decreased rows to see if that would help, and it hasn't really. So I'm gonna have to rip back into the foot, shorten the foot, and then knit the toe again. And I just want this sock to be done. That's all I need in my life, is for this sock to be done, and for its sibling to magically also be done. But it has been really interesting working with the Cordale. I also feel like my gauge is looser on here as well. I don't know if it's just my gauge overall has loosened. I don't know why that would be, but that it seems that may be something going on. So this was my movie knitting. Lamar and I on Saturday night went to go see Black Panther. So many feelings. Still can't figure out the words to express those feelings. Just, yeah. But anyway, this was my movie knitting. And I was about maybe here when we went in, and I just knit all of that. The only reason that I stopped knitting in the theater was because I was scared to knit too long. So I also had the vanilla socks with me, so I knit a few rows on that one. But this was predominantly what I was doing while watching Black Panther. There were a couple moments in there I just had to put the knitting down and just be in awe of the amazingness that was on the screen. But yeah, so this toe and probably about maybe half an inch of the foot are going to be ripped back. I'm going to knit a new toe, and hopefully that'll put my sock at the right length for my foot so that I can then make sure that I write down the notes and bust out the second sock. Happy Fuzzy yarn? That might be it. This is really going to bother me that I can't remember the name of this yarn. But I do remember the colorway. It's Tree Frog. Yay me. So yeah. Those are my two knitting works in progress. And we will tuck those away. Fine, you don't want to go in the bag? You can just stick out of the bag. Nope, that's a bad idea. I'm going to poke myself in the eye. And my last work in progress, I am going to say, was definitely inspired by Zakia from the Lady Wing Crafts. I don't know why I have a hard time saying that. Lady Wing Crafts podcast. Because on Instagram, she had posted a picture of her spinning. And I was like, oh man, you know, I have some fiber that I want to start spinning. I really should just go ahead and do that. And she was like, yeah, do it. So I did it. These are the spinning fluffs that I got last year from Freakish Lemon. And I believe that says Darth Scabrows? Scabrows? Dunno. But this is everything that's in it. It's olive green and mint superwash wool, red mohair, black New Zealand Perindale, red, white, and black silk noil, and red and white BFL. And it's 2 ounces in total. And he split them up into little spinning fluffs like this. So I have a bag full of little nests. And which one am I going to spin next? I've spun up one whole nest on my spindle, and that's what it looks like so far. Let's unravel some of this black so you can see more of the colors. Yeah. This, just because there's a lot of red, black, and green in this, it is speaking to me in a very pro-black way, and that's making me so happy on the inside. I know it's supposed to be a Star Wars reference. However, this is totally going to be my Black Pride yarn. It's going to happen. So this is another one of the spindles that I've made myself. Do I have any spindles I did not make? No. All of the spindles that I currently have, I have 3. Yes. I currently have 3 drop spindles, but all of them are ones that I've made. But this was made from just a regular dowel, a cup hook. Is that what those are called? Like that you would hang a mug from, you know what I mean? So one of those, and this medallion I got from the wood craft section in Hobby Lobby. So the hardest part about putting this together was cutting out the center of that medallion. But I just carefully cut out the center, rolled up a piece of sandpaper, put it in there, sanded around, and then shoved the dowel in it. And then I screwed the hook on by hand, just because I have learned, and you'll see on this one when hopefully you can see, but I've learned drilling it in, like drilling first, and then putting in the screw doesn't really work when I'm making them on my own because I can't drill straight. So when I'm screwing them in by hand, you see like if it's tilting any direction, and you can like adjust the pressure to make sure that it goes in straight. But this one, I think I should have gotten a thicker dowel because, oh yeah, you can see that. That is a crack in the dowel. And the dowel would have broken if I had screwed this in before putting on this whirl. So, but because I have the whirl that's holding it together, it's perfectly fine. And this one actually spins like better than any of the other ones that I've made. So it spins like more evenly and longer. There we go, that's better. And it spins. Neither of the other two drop spindles that I've made will spin that smoothly for that long. So I think it has a lot to do, I know it has a lot to do with the fact that the whirl is very even. One of the ones that I've made is a clay. Actually, both of the ones that I currently have are clay. And I tried to roll the clay out as evenly as I could, but of course, you know, when you roll it out, it may not be completely even. And then of course, when you bake the clay, it can bake uneven. So this definitely allows it to spin a lot longer and a lot smoother, which made spinning this a very pleasurable experience. So yeah, that's all in here. And you can see how the nests look different to each other. So there's definitely going to be a lot of variation in this spin. And yeah, fun times. And that right there is just some Angelina. Yeah, some Angelina fiber that I got from one of my local yarn shops. I have a like ocean blue bat. I don't remember what the content is or anything like that. I got it years ago when I lived in Alabama. And when I saw that Angelina, all I could think was like, this would look awesome in that blue. Anywho, that's the end of Works in Progress. And we will move right along to Stash Positions, because I didn't put anything in for like next up or maker plans, because the maker plans that I had last episode are still not, they still haven't moved on to Works in Progress. So we will move on to Stash Positions, and I have them hanging out in this box. I bought this box about 2 weeks ago because I said, oh, I'm gonna need a bigger box for my box of socks. And is that upside down? No, it's not. So I bought this box thinking that, you know, this was going to be adequate, because I had like these little photo shoebox looking boxes that I got from Joann's. I had one for 2016 and one for 2017. And I just wanted all of my knit socks to be able to go in one box, because I don't want to put them in with my like commercial socks, because I don't want to risk somebody washing the wrong ones. So I bought this box and I was like, oh yeah, all my socks are gonna fit in here. Man, I put all the socks, and all of my socks weren't even in this box because I was wearing a pair of them and like a couple pairs were dirty. So this wasn't even like filled with all of the possible socks that could have been in it. So it was like this much overfull. And it's February. So I had to go back to the store. I got this at Tuesday morning. I had to go back to the store and find the next size up box, which is kind of obnoxiously big. I'll have to insert a picture of this box on top of the new box just so that you can see how much bigger that second box is, because it's ridiculous. So in this box, I have my stash. In this box, I have my stash positions. So first, we have some sewing patterns. And these are all for knit fabric. They're all Simplicity because Joann's had a sale. I actually caught their 99-cent Simplicity sale. I was like, when I got the last time they had the sale, I missed it by like one day. I was so upset about it. And I said, okay, next time, I'm not even like, the first day that I see that it's on, I'm going in there, I'm getting what I'm getting. So I got these 3 patterns. They're all 3 knit, like for knit fabric, because that's one of my goals, as I mentioned like last week. This one is Simplicity 1358. They're all dresses. I think View C might be a shirt, but it could be a dress, and I'm just really modest. So that's the first one. Then I have Simplicity 1463, and these are all tops. And then Simplicity 1198, so more tops. And it says easy to sew, which I really appreciate that. Well, this one says easy to sew. This one does not, so this one might just be like, you on your own, girl. And then this one, 6 made easy. I like it. I like it a lot. So I've got those. I was actually going through my stash, my fabric stash, and I came across a remnant that I purchased of knit fabric. And it's about a yard. So I might be able to make some, oh, yeah. No. Nah. The smallest amount of fabric that I would need would be 1 1/8 yard. Yeah. 1 1/8 yard. I might be able to get one of these out of that, but we'll see. So that's what I got from Joann's. I'm super excited about that. And I was also really proud of myself for going in Joann's, getting what I came for, walking up to the register, checking out, and leaving. Like, felt like such a grown-up. No distractions. The next set of things for my stash are, well, these are just a representation of what I got. Evidently, the Kmart in the town where my husband works is closing. So he went in there the other day and he calls me and he says, hey babe, Kmart's closing and they have like all this stuff on sale. Do you want me to buy you some dye? Yes. He says, well, what colors do you want? Whatever they have. So he was like, well, and he started listing out the colors. And I was like, I don't really need that color. I don't really need that color. And he goes, okay, well, I'm going to get you 2 of all the colors. So why did you even ask me? But thank you. So I have like, I think he ended up getting like 10 or 12 like bottles of Rit dye like this. And they were like $1 each. Actually, no, they were less than $1 each. So he picked all those up for me. I've got yellow. This is aquamarine. He got a couple of navy, some light brown, dark brown, and there's some other color that he got, I think. But it was a big bag of dye, and now I feel like I can dye all the more things. So it's awesome when your significant other is like down for your crafting. And then the last 2 things that I have to show on stash positions are a couple of knit along prizes. So last year I entered the crop top cow that was hosted by Susan of Knit Live the podcast, and I was a winner, which was super exciting. And I also entered, like a little ways after that, I entered the Best Year Ever cow by Nikki of Tea and Possibilities, and I was one of the winners. Yay! So both of the prizes came last Saturday. Yes. So, oh, I didn't say what today was. Today is, I think it's Tuesday, February 20th. Yes. So they came last Saturday, and I feel like they're birthday presents, because if you've watched any of the last episodes during the month of February and or the end of January, you know my birthday's coming, and I'm super excited about it. So my birthday is next Saturday, the 24th, and when these came, when you see the colors, you will understand why I was like, obviously this is for my birthday. So this was the yarn from Susan, and it's a Mineville Wool project. And she's used this yarn on a couple of her projects, and I just loved it. I was like, I want to be able to try that, but she's in Canada. Oh, woe is me. And then I got some. So I'm excited about this. Like, look at all those colors. The colors, dude, the colors. So yeah, remember that. And then this is the yarn from Nikki. This one is Studio C yarn. So you see that? Oh, there we go. This one kind of reminds me of cotton candy. It's called Blueberry Field. And this one, oops, oh no, hide the dog hair. If you have pets, if you have dogs, pet hair is like glitter, I'm just saying. And then there was this one. So, as you can see, the yarn that I received is very purple inspired. And that makes me happy, because the birthstone for February is the amethyst. This yarn is for my birthday. Yay! It's my birthday yarn. It's my birthday yarn. I don't know what that was. Sorry you had to experience that. So that's the yarn that came from the two knit alongs. And then, I don't know if she meant everything to be like so purple, but Nikki also sent these tees and this card. Look how pretty that card is, so delicate. Like, as I always talk about my dream craft room, I'm definitely gonna have to frame this and put it up, because that's adorable. And then, why did I stick this back in here like so? This is the card. This is the card that Susan sent. Oh my goodness. It's half a kiva. So one of my dogs is half beagle, and as soon as I opened this card, I was like, this is the best thing ever. And she does have the sad little beagle eyes like that. Just, look at her little face. Matter of fact, Kiva, come here. Come here, come here, come here. Come here. You're not Kiva, you're Tootie. Ugh. Ugh. See? Look at this sad little beagle face. She's like, what are you doing, Mom? What are you doing? Here's my girl. Is that my girl? Look. Look up here. Kiva. No? You're just looking at the bushes? There was something in the bushes earlier. I almost got you. It did. Okay, off. No, really, off. Look at that. Glitter. Glitter! Do you want to come say hi too? Come here, Toot. Hi! You like being tall? Yeah? You can see so many things? Yeah? Alright, get off me. Oh my. Oh, she got it in my hair. Alright. You'll wonder why I even own black things. So, back to the other goodies in Susan's packet. She sent me a Goatee stitch marker. Come on, goat. Ta-da! It's so cute. That's really cool. And she said this was a little magic for my project bags. And it's, oh, glare. It's a rose quartz stone. And it came with this like little write-up about it. It says, this gentle stone stimulates unconditional love from within and attracts it from without, promotes forgiveness and self-acceptance, brings peacefulness and love to relationships, a very good stone for family and friendship, and it is good for your heart chakra. So I do really love that. Fun fact, I used to make waist beads and like gemstone jewelry and stuff like that, and I had this one bracelet that had a large was it jade? I don't think it was jade. It was another green stone. If I can remember what exact stone it was, I'll put it at the bottom of the screen. But this particular stone was really good for grounding. And at this particular time in my life, I was feeling very not grounded. Like almost like wherever I was going, I was walking a little bit above the ground. Like I never felt stable, I never felt settled. You know, there was a lot, you know, going on in my head. And I made this, it was supposed to be a set of waist beads, so to go around your waist. But I never wore it around my waist. I think I wore it around my waist like once or twice, but instead I wrapped it around my wrist, and I always had it just like right there. So I wore it like for the longest time. And I really think things like that have a lot to do with the energy that you put into them rather than the energy that the object itself has, like intrinsically. So for me, since what I needed then was to feel grounded and to have that sense of you are here, that's what that reminded me of. And because I wore it all the time, every time I touched it or every time I felt it, it just reminded me of that, you know, headspace, like you are here, you are good, we're okay. So having another thing like this, you know, back in my life is really nice. But this is definitely one of my favorite things that she sent. Like I really appreciate it. I appreciate her for thinking to put something like this in this package for me. And the last couple things that she put in here were some yummies. This is chewy ginger candy, which I haven't opened yet. When I was opening the packet, I was sitting there with my husband and my brother-in-law, and I was like, ooh, ginger candy. And my brother-in-law was like, what do you say? And then on top of that, it's mango flavored. So I'm definitely going to have to share these because I'm such a nice person. And then she sent me tea. David's tea. This is guava guava. guava, pineapple, apple, GABA green tea, papaya, coconut, orange peel, red currant, safflower. Okay, so I have kind of an idea of what that might taste like, but I am excited to try this. This is going to be my first experience with David's tea. Fingers crossed I don't burn this green tea, because you know it is very easy to burn a green tea. Lastly, this tea right here, y'all. This tea is so good. I had one packet of this last year, and when you brew it, it smells like cake. It tastes like dessert. This is the best tea ever. It's so yummy. I brewed that one bag like a good 3 times in one day. Like, I didn't save it past then, because that would be kind of gross, I think. Unless there is a way to save your tea bags, let me know, because I would totally do that with this tea. It's the English Tea Shop, white tea, blueberry, and elderflower. Oh my gosh. I have a box of this tea on my wish list on Amazon, because I just can't bring myself to spend I think it was like $7 or something like that. Stop shaking. $7, something like that, on a box of tea, and then plus shipping. I might have to do it, y'all, because I have been looking for another, a dupe of this tea. Can't find any. I've had other blueberry teas that are, okay. I like blueberry tea. I've come to discover this. But just, there's something about this one tea. I'm gonna have to buy some for my birthday. I might just have to break down, buy some for my birthday, because, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I'm saving this. Thank you, Susan. And that's everything that I have for Stashquisitions, y'all. You guys, you put up so much with my weirdness, and I just want you to know I really appreciate, you for watching this and watching me, especially when I'm in one of my silly moods. I don't know why I'm feeling so silly today. But, so that's everything for Stashquisitions. And we will move right on to Black Fibers, Black Threads. And this is the part of the podcast where I share with you some way that the Black community has impacted the fiber community. And last week I was talking about, hello? There's critters in the bushes. Last week I was talking about the Coptic stitch from Egypt, and being I guess you can call it the grandfather to knitting. But I worked up a swatch, which I totally should have steam blocked, and I probably shouldn't have made it in white. We're just gonna move this real quick. There we go. Okay. So that is the Coptic stitch. Now, let me see if I can show you. All right. So here's your regular stockinette, and don't mind my hastily painted nails, but this is your regular stockinette, right? So when you stretch it, your stitches kind of all split apart evenly like that, right? So that's how the knitted stockinette behaves, okay? So with Coptic stitch stockinette, is this the right way up? No. So this is Coptic stitch stockinette, and you can see how all of the stitches are twisted. Yeah, so when you stretch this, they kind of cling closer to each other. So that's just how they behave differently. So yeah, that's pretty cool, yeah? So when it came to, thank you, loud vehicle. When it came to actually working up this stitch, it was kind of difficult. I used the video that I linked last week, and I'll link it again, because it shows you how to do the cast on and then how to work each row. So, you know, I wanted to do everything like from cast on and throughout the swatch, you know, without doing any of like the cheats that the lady was talking about. So this was, I'll show you back here. You can't really see it. Well, you kind of can. This is what you get when you do a Coptic stitch cast on, and it looks a lot like a crochet chain. When I was doing this, I, you know, had these really, really large loops, right? And when I went back to work my first row, it was very hard for me to figure out where I was supposed to be picking up to create like the stitches in the row, because my loops were so large. So one of the cheats that that is explained in that video that I was following is you can actually do a crochet chain and then start working your Coptic stitch into that. So that's what I did. All right, so yeah. So there's my crochet chain. You can't really tell. There's my crochet chain there. And then I just worked the Coptic stitch into it. The hardest part for me when doing the stitch was not remembering, you know, how to actually perform the stitch, because really you're just creating like an overhand loop, and you just have to make sure that you're either in front of your working yarn or behind your working yarn, so that, you know, all of your knit stitches are correct, and then if you flip it over, all of your purl stitches are correct. The hardest part for me was going up to the next row, because I couldn't figure it out, and like for the first, I don't know, like the first 6 rows I was just kind of like winging it, and it actually doesn't even look like I was winging it. It looks like I knew what I was doing, because like you see those loops, those are the loops that are caused when you're working flat and you go up to the next row. So it's almost like a slip stitch. If you know how like in sometimes when you're working flat in knitting, you slip the first stitch and keep going. That's kind of like the idea that you have here, or a turning chain in crochet. So that's my 2 row edges. Now, Coptic stitch can be worked either right to left or left to right. I decided, because I didn't want to tackle learning the Coptic stitch, the Coptic purl stitch. I was like, let me just stick with the knit stitch, and we'll introduce purl at a later date. So I decided to work mine right to left, doing the knit, and then work backwards along that same, like without turning, work backwards in knit stitches, and then forwards and backwards. And the difference when you're working right to left as opposed to left to right is all in the way that you insert your needle. So you're either inserting it right to left, or you're inserting it left to right. So yeah, it was a really, really cool experience to learn to do this stitch method. I think it'll be really cool to actually create something like a full finished object out of the Coptic stitch. And yeah. So I just, excuse me, I just wanted to show that swatch to you, because that was what we looked at last week. And this week, I actually came across a current knitwear designer that actually was really inspiring to me. I'm going to put his name at the bottom of the screen because even though I have been practicing and trying to learn how to pronounce his last name, I cannot pronounce it correctly, so I'm not going to say it at all. I've also been practicing how to say this properly. He is a South African Xhosa knitwear designer. Y'all don't know how long I was practicing how to say that. So I was like on YouTube researching how do you properly pronounce Xhosa. And after, I think I practiced it for a good, like a solid, 5-10 minutes, just saying it over and over again and saying the X sound, which is like that X sound, but putting that next to a vowel is very hard for the English tongue. You coming back? Okay, sit down. No, sit down. Okay. What? You know you don't look me in the face. All right. So it's very hard for the English tongue. And after practicing for like, 5-10 minutes, this part of my face was actually hurting. So anyway, so his first name is Laduma. Yes, Laduma. He is a knitwear designer from South Africa, and his designs are specifically, nah, bruh. His designs are based from the traditional, you can see me trying to get my mouth right? Xhosa beadwork. No, you can't come up here because you don't know how to act. Okay, you gonna be good? Lay down. Sit down. Lay down. Okay. Somebody just wants to sit on my lap. It's fine. So he bases it around traditional beadwork, and when I came across his work, it's very geometric, and I'll put up some pictures from his website. But it's very geometric, it's very bold, and I don't know, just different to what I have seen in, like, your everyday knitwear. And so because it was based off of traditional beadwork, it's he's got a lot of very like clean lines. There are repeated motifs that I really like, and he has a very specific color palette. And I was watching a video where he was actually talking about his inspirations for his collection, his reasoning for doing his collection the way he did, and he was saying that the color palette that he chose was directly pulled from the traditional, colors that they work with, and like down to matching the color, the beaded color work. Yes, the beaded colors to like Pantone colors, so that he can make sure that the yarn is dyed to match those colors. And I was like, man, that is definitely a way to, like, in a modern way, acknowledge your traditional roots, which I really appreciated. So when I was watching, if you could see this dog down here, like, all right. So while watching the video that he was, where he was talking about his collection, he pointed out a very interesting, like, tidbit. And that is, I have my notes over here, that the South African mohair industry produces more than the world's mohair. But because they don't really have a like strong enough fiber processing industry there, almost all of their mohair gets exported out for like, you know, other people to process. And so he said that in using their local mohair and their local wools in his collection, he's looking to, you know, basically give more work to the local farmers and shepherds that raise these animals. And like that's just so awesome, like using your gifts and inspirations to not only bring awareness to your culture and to the traditional values of your culture, but also to uplift and bring more revenue into the community itself. So I thought that was really inspirational. So I was looking for like maybe places that we could have seen his work publicly, and it turns out that he designed shawls that were worn on the red carpet for some of the Black Panther movie premieres. And I was just like, man, I bet that was I can't even say I bet that was such an experience. That had to be such an experience to be able to participate in dressing the actors or actresses, or providing pieces for the actors or actresses of this movie, especially because it is showing Africa in a way that hasn't been, you know, shown in Hollywood. So I'll put up a picture of the two actors that were wearing Laduma's work here, so that you can see that as well. But yeah, when I was looking at his work, it was very inspirational for me, because a lot of times I do want to venture into more African inspired patterning, like the geometric patterns that are used traditionally. And a lot of times when I have the idea or I have the thought to venture into that direction, I kind of, you know, shy away from it, because I am not aware of my African roots, like where the blackness of Kalisha comes from. I don't know, you know, the history, like in my lineage there is slavery, so I don't know where their slaves were from. So I would always shy away from these ideas, because I didn't want to, like, you know, do something that was South African inspired but not have that South African connection, or do something that's Nigerian or Ghanaian inspired and not have, and those aren't my people, like, if that makes any sense. So if there is one takeaway that I had, and I'm blending a couple of things right now, but if there was one takeaway that I had from the Black Panther movie, it was the fusion of many African cultures. And that has definitely made me feel like, almost because I can't pinpoint where I'm from, because I can't pinpoint that, it almost gives me a more flexible way, or a more flexibility when it comes to embracing more African cultures, if that makes any sense. So totally went off on a little tangent there, but his work, Laduma's work, is very inspiring. I definitely encourage you to take a look at his body of work. I will put a link to his website down below, as well as links to his Instagram. Just so cool, right? And yeah, that is today's tidbit for Black Fibers, Black Threads. So that brings us to the last bit of chit chat and chatter, and that is life and whatnot. As I have mentioned, we did go to see Black Panther. It was amazing. Like I said at the beginning, I'm still trying to figure out how to verbalize how this movie made me feel. Just being able to go and sit and watch this movie and see like so many people who have like hair like mine, or I would even say skin tones like mine, but there was maybe like a handful of light-skinned people in the movie. Like it was just chocolate and wonderful. But it was such a great experience, and seeing the excitement that this has caused within the Black community, it just warmed my heart. It just brought so much joy to me. It is definitely a movie that I will need to see again, just because I feel like I missed so much. And it may just be like, I don't know if anybody else feels like this when they go to a theater. Like the screen is ginormous. I really feel like I'm only able to focus on like this much of the screen when I'm in the theater, and I'm like trying to catch it, like to catch it all in, you know? So I do want to see it again. When it comes out on DVD, it is going to be purchased. Most definitely. I'm not even really a movie poster kind of person. I might have to buy the movie poster. Like, it's, oh my gosh. And then Disney owns Marvel, and I live in like Disney headquarters. I'm like, oh, we have to go to downtown Disney and see, oh wait, it's not downtown Disney anymore, it's Disney Springs, and see like what Black Panther stuff they have in the Marvel store, right, Tootie? Tootie, you can be a Black Panther. Don't you lick me in the face. Sit down. So yes, there have been a lot of movie things happening in my life recently. Last week, I decided that I wanted to watch all the Harry Potter films. So I've been marathoning Harry Potter. I am up to, or I just finished, earlier today, I just finished Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince. And guys, okay, I understand that I read the books when I was in middle school, which was a long time ago. So, yeah, when I was watching the first one, I was like, I don't remember none of this. I don't remember damn one of these things. So I feel like this is all me experiencing the Harry Potter for the first time in a lot of ways. And then I only read up to book 3. Yes, I only read the Sorcerer's Stone. That finger's not for you. No, put the finger down. Okay. I only read the Sorcerer's Stone. What was the second one? The Chamber of Secrets and The Prisoner of Azkaban. I only read those 3 books. And I don't think I had ever, let me think about this. I had never seen a full movie. I've seen like clips and bits and pieces. Like I would walk in and my friends would be watching it and I'm like, Harry Potter, and walk out or whatever, not be paying attention to the movie. But I'd never seen a full movie. So I basically going in blind in a way. So it was really cool to be able to see the world that so many of my friends are like in love with. And one thing that I immediately, when they first showed Diagon Alley, I was like, yo, Universal Studios Diagon Alley is amazing. Like, when I first went there, I was like, oh wow, this is amazing. It looks like it's like right out of a movie. But bruh, I was like, I walked there. Amazing. So, yeah. I have, since I've gotten up to Half-Blood Prince, I've been introduced to so many of the characters that like I hear their names a lot, like Luna Lovegood. I was like, who's that? Because I hadn't made it to her appearance yet. So I feel like, you know that feeling when you're on the outside of like all of the inside jokes, and then suddenly you're on the inside and you're like, that was me. That was pretty much me. So yeah, I think just the two movies left, right? The two parts of Deathly Hallows, I think. I'm watching them on our Amazon Fire Stick. So yeah, this has been quite the adventure. Right now, I'm feeling some sort of way because Dumbledore has just died. I don't know how to feel right now. Like, through the entire scene, like when his body is laying on the ground and all of the students are like gathered around and everybody's all sad and they're like holding up their wands and stuff, I'm like, no. All of their love for Dumbledore is gonna cause him to come back alive, because that's how movies go. Like, I was ready for like Harry to like have a tear drop off of his cheek and land on Dumbledore's forehead, and suddenly he's back alive. And I'm like, surely this is coming. Nope. I'm sad. Somebody tell me that Dumbledore's not gone forever. There was so much more for him to do with his life. Tootie, I'm so sad. Tootie, comfort me. You're comforting me? No, that's comforting you jerk. Anyway, so that's about it. Is there anything else that has been happening in my life that I want to share with you? No. That is everything that I have for you today. Thank you so much for spending some time with me. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Please leave a comment down below of something awesome that happened to you or something that is bringing you joy, so that we can all experience the things that bring one another joy. If you have any questions or any comments, or know a way to save tea bags longer than their first, second, or third brewing, leave those in the down bar as well. In the comment section as well. Check out the link in the down bar to Laduma's work, so that you can see like how awesome his stuff is. And yeah, thank you so much for being here today. I really appreciate you being here today. I hope you have a wonderful day and a wonderful week. Peace out. Bye.